2018 with the old SDK, because I know it's like old now, but pretty much there's this thing called on-particle collision. And what that is if you set a, let me take a good old weapon out here for a second, pretty much like this weapon right here, uses particles. If you have them set with send collision messages checked on, you are able to actually murder your friends and people that, in certain worlds. It's a weird, kind of crazy thing, but what I wanted to say is Avatar PvP is, as much as it is like system that I put together, it is a concept. And I'm not the only one, and I'm probably never going to be the only one to actually try to do this. And I want to give a shout out to two people that I know are actually there's booths in Projekt Community right now. One being Steve's World. I've talked to him maybe a year ago or half a year ago. He put together a really cool like PvP system using contacts. Very cyberpunk, like edge runner type theme. Pretty much the system, it works using particles. So far, it's been going. This is the 5-year anniversary this year in February. Kind of very late for it, but I released the video yesterday, and I want to say thank you to all the communities. There are so many communities within or that use the system. I am representing one of them right now. The Blood Ravens of VRC. They have been around for a very long time, and they deserve a lot of credit. The Flying Flapjack, if you ever heard of him, he's an amazing person. Do a lot of cool stuff. I don't know. Every week, groups go to war. They fight. I myself host a few free-for-alls every once in a while, and my hip track is freaking out. Okay. But a lot of cool things that people have been making, and I am super grateful for it. Yeah. About the system, how can I even start explaining it? It's very complicated. Okay, hello. Okay, I am so sorry. I apologize for that. I just fully crashed. I disconnected. Okay. This is my luck. All right. Back what I was saying. Okay. Wait, let me just turn off that. Okay. Back what I was saying is if you ever watched Ready Player One, Planet Doom, right in the beginning of the movie, seeing explosions and chaos of everyone fighting as like a character, whether it be from Halo, from StarCraft, from just Star Wars, the list goes on to the Warhammer 40k, which is represented right now. That is like the description of Avatar PvP. There's been at least over 24 communities that have used the system and have went to war with each other. Just absolute chaos. Every week there's, I don't even know how many battles. I'd say at least like 5 battles a week or more, just from all the different communities going together. It's kind of something, but the way the system works is, like I said before, it uses particles. Pretty much in Unity, there are various sets of layers, whether that in VR chat has taken up a few of them, but below that you get up to 30, I believe that was the number. And each one of those layers, if you set your particle on your avatar to collide with one of those layers, it does a certain effect. Whether that be just fire damage, just lighting someone on fire, used for flamethrowers, which does a lot of damage, but over time gradually, or just be normal damage, layer 17, which is the walkthrough layer, which you could just straight up it's the death layer. Or you could even heal your friends. Let's say, like myself right now, I'm using an apothecary, which is a healer. I go over here. This is also made by Flying Flapjack, and have a little healing spray, some of that Mountain Dew spray right there. In the middle of a battle, as you would think like a medic would be one of the most important roles, being able to heal people. Or you could give them shields. You could make their HP doubled of what they have. So there's a lot of different, all the layers have their own effect. And one of the recent ones that was recently just added, because I couldn't figure out one of them, was adding a push effect. So let's say you have a big shield on you, and someone's running at you, you could easily just punt them with the shield and they'll go flying away. So that's one of the most recent ones. And as you can see in the background, all the the chaos of everyone. Just a bunch of fun communities. But what was the other layers? There's also poison. You could poison people. There's also bleeding. Let's say for melee people. Well, the original idea of this was for melee. VR chat latency is very intense, as probably most of the communities of VR chat now realize, especially like whether it's from the PvP side or even the roleplay side, having to actually be able to block your opponent's strike before they actually swing, which I don't know how they do that. It's insane. Props to the roleplay communities. But latency has always been a thing. So, effect like bleed, we kind of put together, is it once you're hit with it, very little damage, slowly over time, but you can't jump. So you can't easily jump away and get away from the battle. It's very good for melee people to run in and just hit someone and make sure they're grounded and can't run away. So that's also one. Like I said, we have poison. Also electric. Have an electrical effect. You'll be able to just pretty much remove someone's shield effect. So that's also a big thing. We also do really big holiday events in the back with the giant Potteroo. That is one of our, this year I think is the 4th year of the Potteroo, of Potteroo's attack. So do events like that, but all the communities do their own special events as well. Like I'm pretty sure the Necrons have done giant robotic skeleton pumpkin man and has murdered a lot of people, so they had to fight that one year. I remember that. It was very fun. But yeah, let's see the layers. So out of all the different effects, there's a bunch. Yeah. As of right now, also, I don't really have much to say, but as of right now, since it is our 5-year anniversary, Avatar PvP, there's a person named Snipeslow that has been working on a way better, just newer system. I myself do not know how to code. I never did. I'm trying to learn. It's very complicated. I don't know how people do it. But they are working on something that is genuinely amazing. They have game development skill, and they've been, for the past like at least year, working on something in the background, almost making an SDK in a way, allowing it to put it in your Unity package, and instead of the way now where you have to like set up the layers manually and figure out how to actually put the particles, it'll all be done with a click of a button. So that is super exciting, and I really feel the future is bright for all the chaos going on. So they've been working on a lot of things, also making it where you could put plugins to the system as well. So like, let's say I've been working on a thing to let you actually use flight on certain avatars instead of having a collider under your feet where you're kind of just yeeted around, flying around. I was working on a thing where it sends 2 particles down deep below to hit a collider, and when it hits those 2 layers, you'll actually be able to Gmod in a way flight, where you just look where you fly instead of a really weird and glitchy jumping flight on a collider in certain worlds. This will only be done in certain worlds, but it's still something cool. So I love to add that to the system as well. We have flyers as well, different vehicles. It's still kind of work in progress, not gonna lie. It's definitely something very interesting and like kind of scary seeing a giant flying dragon come at you in the middle of a war, and you know you're just gonna die, but you can't do anything about it. So it's very interesting. The future is really, like, honestly bright for it. I'm excited. This is 5 years of chaos going on, hopefully for another 5 years. Yeah. I pretty much, that's most of what kind of wanted to say. If anybody has any like kind of questions about it, about the PvP thing, or kind of early. It's mostly just that's mostly just, yeah. If anybody has any questions on it. Oh. What? Yeah. So it is the way Avatar PvP works. It is a local thing. So just like in VR chat, where it's like if your frames are getting very laggy, you can kind of like hide someone's avatar. It stays local for the fact that like it's kind of a little confusing, but you have to see the person's avatar in order for you to get hurt by them. So it's kind of like a little safety thing in a way with that. So it's all catered locally to the player. So if you see yourself get hit, you're the one that gets hit. It is a way, it is possible. I tried playing around where it's catered to the shooter. That brings up a lot more problems, and actually it's, even though it would be better, and that's how actual like FPS games work, is they use cater to the shooter. So if you see yourself hit someone, that means they die. In VR chat, however, with avatars, let's say you had a big shield in front of you and you're like this really chunky, scary looking robot. All I have to do is hide your avatar and shoot you, and all those shields and armor you had on you meant nothing. So it's like really, it's kind of like a whole reverse on it. Well, of right now, I would have to see your avatar and I would see your shields, and my bullets won't really hurt you, but since you're so bulky in shields, nothing will hurt you either. So it's weird. It's like a lot of, it's a double-edged sword in a way, but it is all catered locally to the player. So, and which also means events are pretty laggy sometimes, not always, but in order to use it, you kind of have to see everyone's avatar. But yeah, it's pretty much catered locally. Anybody else? Or trying to think of what else I could even say. What? Oh, you're good. Oh, I didn't even think. Okay. Oh. Let's see. Okay, let's chat. But yeah, local to the shooter. I'm sorry.
I got a couple questions from chat, but overall, is your main PP roleplay of Warhammer, or do you participate in multiple groups?
So I personally participate in a bunch of groups. The Avatar PvP hub server, it's really more of a hub for the prefab itself, but there are a bunch of different communities that use it. As the Warhammer, they have pretty much, they're one of the main reasons that it's gotten so popular. They kind of like adopted the system and took it to like a whole new level, kind of pushing the system itself and even me just to like want to learn and do more. That's why I'm kind of representing them right now. But there's a bunch. There's clones. There's there's clones. There's fantasy. There's actually Daleks too. The Daleks HQ, absolutely amazing people. I never would have expected Daleks, but they actually use it as well. But all these groups also aren't just PvP groups. They're their own amazing communities that do like hangout events, game nights. So that's just really cool. So I try to participate in all, but kind of just in my little hub, my little corner.
Alrighty. Next question is, as someone who has worked with your system, how were you able to make your PP system through Sign triggers? Was it complicated or was it easy flowing for you?
It was a little complicated at first, but Cyan Trigger has like, they've made a program that makes it like, it's amazing. And after a while, getting the hang of it and actually asking for help too in their server, I was able to put it together. So that one, it's like both. It was hard and easy at the same time, but I also learned a lot more from when I started. So that's.
Alrighty. Next question. Yeah. How did the change from local IK to server-side IK affect the Avatar PvP, and how did you adapt to the new system around it?
So, do they mean like with latency with when that update with the whole IK and it kind of made latency a little bit worse kind of thing. If that's what they mean. It was a little difficult. One way of kind of trying to get around that and still now is there's this thing that we in the communities they call backpedaling, where let's say if you have a melee weapon and you're running at me but we're the same class, the same movement, I could walk backwards just as fast as you run at me. And with latency, that is just horrible because I have to see your melee weapon actually hitting me. But if we're the same speed, that can't work. So there's one way that I'm trying is to make your movement speed backwards half as fast as the person running forward, which makes sense too, because you can't really run as fast forward as you can backwards in real life. So that's like one thing. Having to learn where to aim. If someone's running in a straight aim line, you would have to aim to where they're going to be instead of actually where they are. So there's a lot of it's hard, but it's something that after a while everyone's kind of got used to. And to be honest, there's some people that, especially with like melee fights and just shooting, have gotten so good to the point where it's like, are you even human? Because like, they just somehow know where you're gonna be. It's really weird. So like some people have just gotten really good at it. It's just kind of cool. So it's definitely been hard though. There is and isn't. It's weird. I know. So there's a whole Helldivers of VRC. I forgot. Joe's. I can't get their name off the top of my head. It's just I just met them recently. They have put Helldivers VRC group together. I think they were looking into starting to use PvP stuff. I can't say I'm sure. I have no idea, but people have made Helldiver avatars. There's been actually someone made Pelican 1, and I think in the video there's one point where I was kind of flying it around and dropping people off, which is really cool. So there's all different communities. There's Fallout. I think the Combine at one point even used it, but yeah. I'm not sure if there is an official group doing PvP though yet. So that's actually that goes back to the whole thing. VR chat to me personally is an amazing game where people want to create. Now I'm not saying world weapons are bad or anything. It's just the fact that instead of having to go in the world and pick up a gun that's already there, I feel like that creative side of VR chat where you could make your weapons and then go fight someone, where you're just it makes it more creative. And I feel like that actually is the reason why it's kind of gotten as big as it has, especially with Warhammer 40k, because you usually paint your miniatures and make your miniatures. Now everyone's substance painting their avatars and making their weapons. So I like world, even in some ways, world weapons are way better than what we're doing, and I admit that 100%. Because when it comes to latency and like actual hitboxes on you, it just works way better. But it never has that, like, personally to me, I could be wrong. It could be totally opposite opinion. It's just I would want to create, because that's what VR chat kind of offers, that creative freedom to just make what you want and just, make some chaos kind of thing. But that's my like idea behind it. So to be honest, latency would be the one big thing that would really just help in general. I actually personally don't know how to code. I'm tempting to learn. It is space magic to me. But there probably are actual like things that could be done to help if I knew how to code and stuff, or knew more about, networking. But latency would be one of the biggest things that I would know off the top of my mind that would help fix it. Because the fact of being able to try to shoot someone, but they're really about 10 feet the other door, like, or 5 feet in front of where you're shooting. It's a little hard, but yeah,
Okay.
that's really the main thing I would think.
Next question is,
Uh,
do you have any videos as to where you would like to see Avatar PvP heads in the future? Heads in the future. Okay. Sorry, that question was like weirdly worded.
but, wait, what? Oh, wait, to see where it heads, kind of
Yes,
thing.
yeah. Let me
Wait,
rephrase
I
it.
kind of.
I think I understand the question. It's
Oh,
just worded so weird. Um,
no.
do you have any visions where do you have any visions where you like to see your Avatar PV system head in the near future?
Yeah, I would love. So my goal with Avatar PvP always was that old feeling of VR chat where it's like, this is gonna sound funny, but I remember when I started with the Ugandan Knuckles would come in raiding the world and just, everybody's like, oh god, it became a hangout world to just this chaotic kind of little chaos with a bunch of little creatures running around, the raids that people used to do, the old VR chat, just having fun, being creative kind of thing. My goal is to have VR chat or just Avatar PvP. It doesn't even have to be my system, just even like a contact system, whatever, to spread to the point where you could be hanging out with your friends and the next thing you know, people come in and it's all of a sudden like objective survive kind of thing. You just have that chaos, people coming in fighting, maybe like monsters raided the world and you have to fight them off kind of thing, and just lasts for 10 minutes and goes away. Having that fun just interaction, that whole new level. Yeah, it's a little chaotic and crazy, but that's what I would love, just to have that whole new level of interaction between just people, because I know we have it right now with contacts, but it could always be more, honestly. That's what I feel, but I don't know, could be wrong.
Oh, good.
That's
Oh, all right, someone. By the way, everyone who's in this room, don't let me and chat take up all the questions. If you have a question, go ahead and line up behind me, and I will just rotate between all of you guys. Okay. Alrighty. Next question in chat. Okay, this one's a little weird one. Has the group found any notable applications for the system outside of PvP?
a notable applications. So not well, kind of. So it's been really weird. A long time ago, there was a person named Dogs that came up to me and he asked me, he does actual IRL LARPing. And I always thought that was cool. But he brought it up to me. He's like, hey, you want to use the system for like a LARP? It didn't last very long, but for 3 months, we had a group called Dark Eclipse RP. And honestly, that was like the funnest I've ever had. Because of what latency, running in and shooting someone, it's kind of harder, but when you're actually acting it out and hiding behind cover and you know where the people are, it makes the combat so much better, because you're kind of standing still, you're acting out the part, and it makes it very immersive. So there is like a very big opportunity with the roleplay type stuff. Even one of the clone groups at one time, the first time I joined their event, they were acting it out. We're on this bridge, we're shooting at people. It was the scariest and coolest time I ever had, because super battle droids and their wrist rockets, man, I'm the clones say that line for a reason, that's for sure. I saw someone get completely blown up by a wrist rocket. So yeah, RP definitely. But right now it's kind of mostly just running, kind of PvP and shooting, gunning people down. But yeah.
Alrighty. Next question in chat is what what has been your greatest struggle with the Avatar PvP system or the community?
Greatest struggle. So that's actually one. I don't. The greatest. I mean, like every community, we had our ups and downs. I'm trying to think. The greatest struggle. That's a hard one, actually. I mean, getting the word out there hasn't really been too much of a problem. I would say one of the most recent things that happened is VR chat's actually depreciated their combat system that they had integrated into like their SDK. Them doing that, we used to be able to in PvP worlds fight each other, and when you shoot them, they would ragdoll and kind of like fall over on the ground. Since VR chat depreciated that, when we updated and started slowly reworking or doing more worlds, it turned out that if you have Index and you get killed in Ragdoll, you turn invisible because Index wasn't around when they made the thing. Or when you switched your avatar and you were Ragdolled, you were stuck in a T-pose running around the world and not able to actually shoot anyone. So that was a really big kind of challenge that we had to be like, all right, I guess we can't Ragdoll anymore, which made it a very fun and more immersive experience. But I would think that's one of the main big things.
Oh, give me a second. Alrighty. So, next question is, would you still be playing VR chat if PP did not exist?
I wouldn't probably. I don't know. So VR chat helped me through a really rough time, especially a few years ago. I've been playing it since late 2017, like right before the Knuckles, the whole Ugandan war. Um, but I would probably still be playing VR chat, even though, because there are a lot of amazing communities that still make things. I don't know what I would be doing, but I'd probably still be here. But PvP has definitely kept me wanting to come back and stay here for a long run. So, and seeing everything else everyone has made and done, which is awesome. Not even just in PvP stuff, just in general in VR chat. So,
Alrighty. The next question in chat is, what game/community do you personally want to see someone turn into a PP community?
that's. I mean, really anyone. That's the beauty of it, to be honest, is like I never expected Daleks. I didn't even know what Warhammer was until until they adopted the system, so I had no idea what that was. Never knew much about like Fallout or Combine stuff until they kind of played around with it. So that's the beauty of it. Any community really is more than welcome to use it. It is a public prefab. It is there just to be shared and for people to experience that like new creative chaos. So yeah, that's anyone. I don't really have a word for.
Alrighty. The very next question is, what is your favorite memory of the Avatar PP?
Aha. Oh god. I have a lot of them. Most of them are just like moments of being amazed and then getting killed slightly shortly after. Um, that's actually a good question. Out of everything, the moments, it's just seeing everyone come together. I know a few months ago I wasn't actually there personally, but the 40k community did like a 73 player battle where it was like multiple factions in one instance. I don't even know how they did it, but that was just really, really cool. That like just seeing everyone come together with this common goal of like, all right, we're here to fight, have fun. That's what. Yeah, I couldn't really say an actual. There's too many kind of in a way. But,
All good, all good. As a friendly reminder of those who are just joining the lobby, if you have any questions, go ahead, feel free to stand behind me, and I will rotate around. Right now, I'm just reading questions off of chat. So, just yep. Alrighty. Next question. Actually, it's not really a question. A lot of chat people are going for the Empire, but
all right.
but But
there also is Empire Group.
but next question: do you have any advice for someone who's wanting to get into the Avatar PvP?
Yes. I would say as of right now, the one thing that I will just admit, I haven't been playing VR chat as much as I want to be because of IRL stuff. When it comes to videos and tutorials on how to actually set up the PvP and the particles, it's kind of mostly taught from person to person kind of thing. There's no actual videos yet to explain it, and kind of would be mostly just feel free to come join and like in the communities, but if you're looking to make a world, I would wait until Snipe ends up finishing their prefab because that's when it's really going to start. I really feel that's going to be the new beginning of violence, but you could definitely right now hop in and try using the one that I put together. It's not the greatest because I don't know how to code, so it's very unorganized, if you would say. But it definitely just like soon it's gonna really pick up. Though I feel. I'm gonna try.
All right, so this one's actually
Yeah.
my own personal question. At
Yeah.
any moment while you're developing with Scion Triggers, was there any moment that was hard or just can't think through for a moment due to some of the technical difficulties?
Yeah, 100%. There was a lot like my brain don't know how shapes put together, and it was definitely a bunch of times where it was difficult to figure stuff out. I remember one was the actually, which sounds kind of funny, but was adding the immunity at the end. So pretty much when you would die, you would have, I think it's 12 seconds of immunity. Because we used to have a problem where people would respawn together and teleport back and just keep killing each other in a circle if they had their weapons out. So as soon as everyone would like respawn, they just all die. So to fix that, put together a immunity, and I had to go through in like each individual class, and like it was really complicated. But I remember that being a really big problem. So there's definitely a lot of those. Like,
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is another my own personal questions. Was the PvP system created before Scion Triggers, then converted to Scion Triggers down the road when SK3 came out?
yes, it was put together, and so I released the prefab of it. I think it was actually February 26th, I believe. February 26th, 2019. So that was literally like 5 years ago. It was not what it is. It had no classes. It didn't even have healing at the time. It was just one damage. But I actually didn't convert it over. I completely redid it in Scion Triggers because I didn't know how to actually convert it because it was such a mess of triggers. So it was all remade in Scion. I think I remade it twice. Forget. But
All right. Next question, chat. Are there any future work in progress that you can share with us today?
I mean, there's not really as of right now. I recently tried putting together a world that I think I was way too ambitious on, and it's a very big world. But planning to make my personal thing is planning to make new worlds to have big battles in, pretty much. So if it's having vehicles, almost like PlanetSide 2, if you ever played that game, that's an old game. It's 10 years old. It's a very chaotic and fun game where it's just air, land, and sea, just going at each other, a bunch of chaos. I have that. I mean, that's one thing. Also, the main thing I would have actually would be the Warthog. I recently put together a hangout world for all the communities. It's very themed around StarCraft, but maybe later if they would be interested. Or yeah, but that's really it.
Alrighty. Next chat question is, what inspired you to make the PvP system?
That's the thing. It was actually made by a mistake. uh, so back at the time when I was playing around with world stuff, I was trying to make a key card for an RP group. I was trying to make it where if I had a particle in my hand on the key card, I could open up doors. So only like certain official like roles could open up things in the world. And I was playing around with it, and I remember it saying, it's pretty much like it was, so the trigger was on particle collision, and then like add damage, and I just put that to like a bunch of 9s. And I remember walking up to the terminal, hitting it, and my body just ragdolling to the floor. And then that my brain just like, I'm like, oh my god, the avatar could like kill me. And then ever since then, I'm like, I tried putting colliders on the avatar or like on your viewpoint, and that started from there. So it was actually a complete mistake at first. But
Let's see. Next question, chat. Give me a moment. Let me read this. All right. Do you think you would have continued developing the Avatar PvP if sign triggers did not existed?
you know, to be honest, probably not in a way. As of right, like, it's weird. I would love to. I would probably try. But with all the stuff, especially trying to find a career in real life and putting all that effort and time into trying to do something online, which I would never really know would make that far, I would probably wouldn't have actually continued. I probably would have said it's time for me to like move on and just start doing other things. But Cyan Laser is an amazing person and has probably helped VR Chat a lot, and they deserve a lot of credit for what they've done. Redoing that whole trigger system, it really helps a lot of people, and I know it helped me a lot. That's I don't know how to code. That udon graph scares me. All the noodles, it's so scary. And space magic, but yeah, that's probably I don't. Yeah, probably not.
Is there any other teases that you can give us with the new PvP system that's coming out?
Not. One I could say that Snipes working on which is pretty cool. They're working on hooking it up. So with their system, they're making it available to have plugins. So if people know how to code, they can make their own plugins and own additions to it. One of the things that they're working on the side is hooking it up to audio link. So depending on the music, you could have DJs in the world actually playing music. And depending on the bass or the like, I don't really know much about audio, but depending on the music, you could change the player's movement, speed, and health. So you could literally fight to the music, which is pretty cool. So I'm actually really excited for that. That's something that just like a little taste of what you could do with it, because it's insane. Yeah.
Alrighty. With the new PvP system, would it be compatible with different communities? Like a certain community will have a certain health damage versus another type. Would that still be compatible?
So yes, what Snipe is working on is just how in certain worlds you could actually put pictures uploaded from like GitHub or a website, and it automatically updates in the world. They are planning to do that with a database. So as of right now with my system, it's only the Warhammer and I think like a few other just like built-in ones that you would have to update the world if you ever update the system. With Snipes, you throw it in the world. Any world could be used by any community. All you need is to have a link of that database, and on the system you would click on it, and just like a video player, paste in the link, hit like a little button, and it'll come up with all the classes. So for 40k, let's say if like the Daleks make a world or a PvP world is like all Dalek world, 40k people could go in there, upload their database, and now they could fight in there with their classes. So it's really, really cool. I'm super excited for that. So any world could be used by any community. It's awesome. It brings us all together, I think.
I think that's all the questions from chat. I have not seen any new ones that popped up. So
Okay.
if anyone else wants
Awesome.
to...
All right.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll let the next person in line.
Hello, car. Are you okay? I can hear you.
Okay. What is your current motivation to keep doing Avatar PvP?
All the people that, like, everyone that's been here so far doing it, just like everyone, all the close friends that have helped me throughout the time. That's really what's keeping me motivated, and I am honored and happy to meet, or gotten to meet everyone that I have. And yeah, it's really the people, everyone, awesome, amazing people that have been making all this chaos behind me possible. That's yeah. Yeah, that's really it. Anybody else has any questions? Or I mean, thank you again, Projekt Community, for letting me be here and talk on the stage. I don't know if I was good at it, but it's my first time ever doing this, and I appreciate it, even though I crashed. But yeah, that's, I guess, I don't know, but thank you. I don't think it was, so sorry, I'll hide behind the stage.